on impatiently. "You have only to tell Dane that I am neither Douglas nor Philip, but curiously like both, and he will chuck the thing up. He must. Then I shall be safe. You see that, don't you?" "Yes, I see that," she admitted. "Well?" "Tell me exactly how much of Douglas's money you have spent," she demanded. "Only the loose money from the pocketbook. Not all of that. I am earning money now." She leaned across the table. "What about the 20,000 pounds?" "I haven't touched it," he assured her. "Not a penny." "On your honor?" He rose silently and went to his desk, unlocked one of the drawers, and drew from a hidden place a thin strip of paper. He smoothed it out on the table before her. "There's the deposit note," he said. 20,000 pounds to the joint or separate credit of Beatrice Wenderley and Douglas Romilly, on demand. The money's there still. I haven't touched it." She gripped the paper in her fingers. The sight of the figures seemed to fascinate her. Then she looked around. "How can you afford to live in a place like this, then?" she demanded suspiciously. "Where does your money come from?" "The play," he told her. "What, all this?" she exclaimed. "It is a great success. The theater is packed every night. My royalties come every week, so far more than I could spend." She looked once more around her, gripped the deposit note in her fingers, and leaned back in her chair. She laughed curiously. Her eyes had traveled back to Philip's anxious face. "Wonderful," she murmured. "You paid the price, but you've won. You've had something for it. I paid the price, and up till now—" She stared at the paper in her hand. Then she looked away into the fire. "I can't get it all into my head," she went on. "I pictured him here, living in luxury, spending the money of which he had promised me a share, and he's dead. That was his body, that unrecognizable thing they found in the canal. You killed him, Douglas. He was so fond of life, too." "Fond of things which meant life to him," Philip muttered. "I should never have believed that you had the courage," she observed ruminatingly. "After all, then, he wasn't faithless. He wasn't the brute I thought him." She sat thinking for what seemed to him to be an interminable time. He broke in at last upon her meditations. "Well," he asked, "what are you going to say to Dane?" "I shan't give you away. At least, I don't think so," she promised cautiously. "I shall see. Presently I will make terms. Only this time I am not going to be left. I am going to have what I want." "But he'll be waiting to hear from you," Philip exclaimed. "He may come here, even." She shook her head. "He's gone to Chicago. He can't be back for 5 days. I promised to wire, but I shan't. I'll wait until he's back. And in the meantime—" Her fingers closed upon the deposit note. He nodded shortly. "That's yours," he said. "You can have it all. I have helped myself to a fresh start in life at his expense. That's all I wanted." She folded up the paper and thrust it carefully into the bosom of her gown. Then she stood up. "Well," she pronounced, "I think I am getting used to things. It's wonderful how callous one can become. The banks are closed now, I suppose?" He nodded. "They will be open at 9 o'clock in the morning." "First of all, then," she decided, "I'll make sure of my 20,000 pounds, and then we'll see. I don't think you'll find me hard, Philip. I ought not to be hard on you, ought I?" She looked at him most kindly, and he began to shiver. Curiously enough, her very kindness, when he realized the knowledge which lay behind her brain, was hateful to him. He had pleaded for her forgiveness, even her toleration, but anything else seemed horrible. She strolled across the room and glanced at the clock, took one of his cigarettes from a box and lit it. "Well, this is queer," she murmured reflectively. "Now I want some dinner, and I'll see your play, Philip. You shall take me. Get ready quickly, please." He looked at her doubtfully. "But, Beatrice," he protested, "think. You know why you came here. You know the story you will have to tell. We are strangers, you and I. What if we are seen together?" She snapped her fingers at him. "Pooh! Who cares? I am a stranger in New York, and I have taken a fancy to you. You are a young man of gallantry, and you are going to take me out. We often used to talk of a little excursion like this in London. We'll have it in New York instead." He turned slowly towards the door of his bedroom. She was busy looking at her own eyes in the mirror, and she missed the little gleam of horror in his face. "In 10 minutes," he promised her. End of Book 3, Chapter 12.